Have you ever felt like your voice just isn't doing what you want it to? Well, today, we're going to dive into a technique that is so simple, it looks a little crazy, but the science behind it might just change the way you think about your voice forever.
You know that feeling, right? Your voice is tired after a long day of meetings, maybe it gets a little hoarse, or you feel that anxiety creep in before a big presentation. We all think the solution has to be complicated, but what if it wasn't? What if the fix was, well, this simple?
Yep, that's it. Just blowing bubbles in a tube. I know, it looks like something a kid would do for fun, but this is the core of a revolutionary voice therapy technique. So the big question is, how in the world can blowing bubbles into water have such a massive impact on the human voice?
Okay, I get it, it looks weird, but trust me on this one. The science behind this simple little action is absolutely fascinating. It's a perfect example of how some basic physics can create incredible, profound changes inside our own bodies.
So let's get into it. How does this actually work? This isn't magic, it's a really elegant dance between physics and physiology. We're going to break down exactly what's happening when you do this.
First things first, let's get the technical name out of the way. This is what's called a semi-occluded vocal tract exercise, or SOVT for short. Now that sounds complicated, but if you've ever done a lip trill or hum to warm up your voice, you've already done an SOVT exercise. This is just a different, and you could argue, a much more powerful version of that same idea.
When you phonate through the tube into the water, three things happen all at once. The tube makes your vocal tract longer, the water creates this positive back pressure, and it all encourages your larynx, your voice box, to just chill out and drop into a more relaxed position. But that middle one, the positive back pressure, that's the real secret sauce here.
This back pressure creates something called vocal tract inertance. What does that mean? Well, think of it like this. You're creating a gentle cushion of air that sits right on top of your vocal folds. This little cushion literally helps them do their job. It helps them vibrate more easily with way less effort.
And when you put all that science together, the results are pretty amazing. It suddenly takes less work to start and hold a note. You can get louder without straining or hurting yourself. All that tension you hold in your neck and shoulders starts to melt away. And it even encourages you to breathe deeply from your diaphragm, all without you even thinking about it.
Okay, so that's the theory. Sounds great, right? But does it actually hold up in the real world? Well, this is where it gets really interesting. The applications for this are huge, from helping people with serious speech disorders to training world-class performers.
I mean, look how versatile this is. On one hand, you've got clinicians using it in hospitals to treat things like stuttering or vocal fold damage. And on the other hand, you have elite vocal coaches using the exact same technique to help singers and actors warm up and build incredible vocal stamina.
Let's just zoom in on one really powerful example from the clinical world. A study in 2018 took 10 kids, all between 8 and 10 years old, who had been dealing with chronic stuttering for years. They put them through an 8-week therapy program that was built around this bubble technique. The results are just staggering. I mean, look at this chart. Before the therapy, every single child was in the moderate to very severe range. After just 8 weeks, not a single one was left in that category. They all jumped up to very mild or even normal fluency. And here's the kicker. 50%. Half of these kids achieved completely normal fluency. Let that sink in. These are children who struggled to speak for years, and in just 2 months, they were talking without a stutter. It just shows you how powerful this can be when it's applied the right way. So you see, results like that don't happen because of some random party trick. This isn't just about blowing bubbles. It's a highly structured therapy, a process that's designed to completely retrain how your body makes sound from the ground up.
The whole thing is based on a concept called motor learning. You can think of it like learning to ride a bike or play the piano. The goal is to replace your old, inefficient, and maybe even harmful vocal habits with new patterns that are healthier, stronger, and eventually completely automatic.
And this learning process happens in 3 basic stages. First, there's the cognitive phase. That's where you're just trying to figure out what you're doing and why. Then comes the associative phase. This is the practice part, where you're refining that new skill. And finally, you get to the autonomous phase. That's the goal. It's where the new, healthy way of using your voice becomes so natural, you don't even have to think about it anymore.
So what's the end game here? Why go through all of this? It's all about achieving something called vocal economy.
Vocal economy is basically the holy grail for anyone who uses their voice. It means getting the absolute most out of it. The best volume, the clearest tone, the most stamina, while putting in the absolute least amount of physical effort. It's about working smarter, not harder, with your voice.
And the benefits here go way beyond just sounding better. It's much deeper than that. As one of the pioneers of this method said, there's this incredible link between our voice and our life. When you get a handle on your voice, it can actually make it easier to manage everything else.
So I'll just leave you with this one question to think about. It doesn't matter if you're a CEO, a singer, a teacher, or a parent trying to be heard over the noise. Your voice is one of your most powerful tools. So just imagine, what could you do with a voice that felt truly, completely effortless?